Welcome to I Drink Your Podcast.
Oh gosh, it's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you.
You leave me no choice. Here comes the smolder.
Wait, you like that?
No.
You don't like that?
No, I don't like that.
No, how about that? You like that?
A little better.
Bread makes you fat?
Does this count as annoying?
Just tell me what you want me to fuck!
Not you, and not you.
Okay, I think it's time to take off your clothes and jump me.
$1 million isn't cool. You know what's cool?
I drink your podcast! I drink it up!
Welcome to I Drink Your Podcast. I'm Emily, and with me today is Ben.
Hi, everybody.
And we also have returning with us Dylan.
Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing good out there.
We are so excited to continue our adventure in 2010, all of the best movies from 2010. Thanks, Ben, for doing all that research for us.
Uh-huh.
And we also are going to shamelessly plug and try to get some ratings on Spotify, because that's a new feature. So anyone that's listening to us on Spotify, please rate us 5 stars. We would really appreciate it. We don't have enough stars yet to average for it to come up. And I was like, well, shit. Okay. And also Good Pods or Apple Podcasts, anything. Just rate us, review us, send us some kind words. Yeah, I'm begging now, I guess. I'm sorry.
Get us up to those Joe Rogan levels.
The crossover demographics of our listeners and Joe Rogan, I'm sure, is just like 2 perfect circles over each other.
Yeah. Well, whatever. I don't want to talk about Joe Rogan. I want to talk about this movie, Ben.
Yeah, you mean this movie Monsters that we watched?
Yeah.
Which is available to stream for free on Roku, Tubi, and Plex. And you just got to sit through some ads to get to watch it.
And of course, we're all drinking something in theme with the movie, right?
Absolutely.
Ben, you've got something?
I do. I have a drink called Monster Smash. And it is vodka, tonic water, lime juice, and simple syrup.
Okay. Are you going to smash that back?
It's like a 20-ounce glass, so no, I'm going to sip it throughout the episode.
Okay. Are you going to smash the glass when you're done?
It's plastic, so doubtful.
Dylan, what are you drinking?
Well, I hate to say I came to the party late, so all I got tonight is just my usual raspberry bubbly. Love my sparkling water.
You got to come up with some way of tying this in, Dylan.
All right. It's just as bubbly and effervescent as the characters in this movie. I don't know. They go down a river that's filled with water. I'm drinking sparkling water. There you go.
I love it. It's way better than Matt, so...
Yeah, you at least
no
tried.
No offense, Matt. We love you.
No, total offense, Matt. Up your game. Come on. Emily, what do you got?
Still concussed, but I am specifically drinking water because these monsters in this movie are very water-based, and they sound like whales, and they kind of remind me of octopi and other sea creatures. So we're going to go with water again today. Are you laughing because I said octopi?
I'm drinking water because what are those aliens doing?
Fuck off.
That was my mad impression.
We miss you, buddy. Listen to our show.
So with this movie, which is called Monsters, it's not really about monsters. It's more about aliens. But there's some cool design to the aliens in this movie. But I wanted to talk about, like, what are your favorite alien or monster designs that you've seen in a movie before?
We had to start with Dylan, of course, right?
Yeah, this question was written for Dylan.
Dylan's the monster alien expert over here.
You know, I got to go with my two classics of the modern era, the Alien or Xenomorph from the Alien series. Just such a classic, awesome look to it. Just sleek and beautiful, but yet deadly. And I'll also go with the Predator. That was just such a cool design that was actually made up on the fly, because the original costume they made was just embarrassingly horrible.
Do you know what it looks like?
Yeah, if you watch the DVD with like special features, it's kind of hard to describe, but it looked like a goofy guy in a suit. It just didn't look
Nice.
good.
I'm definitely picturing Goofy as in Mickey Mouse Goofy.
Yep, there you go.
In a suit.
But then Stan Winston, I think, on a plane flying there because they knew they had to figure something out, he just drew out the design and bingo, another classic, scary-looking alien was created.
Well, I'm always partial to like all the different Star Wars and Star Trek aliens. I think that they really inspired a lot of the stuff we see today in Monsters and Aliens. And I've always been a big fan of practical effects, more so than CGI. Although when we watched The Host back in 2007, that was just expertly done. And so I kept trying to think in my head of what makes these designs so good. Why do we latch on to these? And specifically, like, what are the criteria that make something really good in those designs? You know, is it the fear factor in it? Is it the mystery? Is it just the differences from the humanity to something so monstrous?
I think the design needs to match the tone, because when I think of really good alien design, I think of E.T., which is one
Arrival?
of my favorite movies. I love Arrival too, don't get me wrong. Those pods, the way that they have the radial hands that then do the symbols in the random start form, like that's just a really cool idea that fits with what's going on in there. But then you've also got the aliens from Mars Attacks. Not all aliens have to be scary looking, but those ones were scary while also being kind of campy and fun. Whereas then you've got a movie like Space Invaders, where it's all campy and
oh my God,
just not very well done. Space Invaders, you guys remember that one? It's a deep cut.
I saw Space Invaders in the movie theater when I was a kid.
Oh my God.
Oh shit. Actually, I was thinking Starship Troopers for some reason.
Starship Troopers was a great pull, though. Like, I love those bug aliens.
Mm-hmm.
I love that entire movie.
Yeah, that's why when you said that, I went, oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And that was like the perfect time because it was just the invention of a lot of the CG graphics, but they also did a lot of practical effect as well. So it was a good merging of the two together into one thing.
Right. And I know that we've been talking more real life movies in terms of live action, but because of my like animation kick and anime love, I also think about the different monsters that are in those kinds of media. And I think you're right, Ben. It is a lot to do with the tone and the mood of the media, but also I think they have a little bit more flexibility with animation to kind of fit that tone, if you know what I mean. Like they can, it's a little bit more fluid. So like I'm thinking Attack on Titan, just like a general example, and you're able to go a little bit bigger where it's not going to cost a shit ton of money to have to do something that extreme and that terrifying.
Yep. And that's the difference is animation, you're only limited by your creativity, whereas real world or even special effects, it comes down to sometimes money, sometimes skill, sometimes functionality. It's just there are things that hold us back from creating those same designs that you see in specifically those anime movies. Like I think of some of the imagery you get in like Spirited Away or Howl's Moving Castle, where if you try to think of like them actually doing a live action version of that, like it just wouldn't even be feasible.
Well, at this point now, I would say it's a little bit more feasible.
With a high enough budget.
Right, with a high enough budget and enough support, obviously anything could be possible, but that's just not how the world works. As a society, we don't always support creatives. You're not going to throw all your money at someone that's a huge risk.
Well, I think that's a great segue into this movie today. Monsters is rated 73% on Rotten Tomatoes and was named to the National Board of Review's top 10 independent films of 2010. This is a movie that did not make a lot of money. It did not make a big impact, but it might just be one of those hidden gems that we're searching for in 2010. We'll talk about whether we think it is or not. But this movie is directed by Gareth Edwards, and this was his first feature film, and he wore many hats when it came to this movie. He was the director, writer, cinematographer, visual effects artist, and production designer. So we are talking an indie movie.
Yeah. Let's do everything.
Right? And then starring in this movie is really just two main characters. You've got Scoot McNairy, who was mostly in bit parts in movies and TV up until now. He was in the movie Art School Confidential and in TV episodes in 6 Feet Under, My Name is Earl, CSI, and How I Met Your Mother. But literally, I'm talking bit parts because in How I Met Your Mother, he was fast food worker. So this is not a well-known actor, and neither is the actress that worked alongside him, which is Whitney Abel, who only appeared in small roles in CSI New York and Cold Case. But she was Scoot's real-life girlfriend and future wife, and they started dating about 6 months before shooting this movie.
Oh shit, really?
Yep. So that chemistry was real that we saw.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. Also, with a name like Scoot, just saying. I don't know where I'm going with that. What a name.
It's a nickname.
No. Someone's
Scoot is not his birth name.
legit
No.
named him Scoot.
First thing they saw when he was born was the dog scooting his butt on the carpet. Let's name him Scoot.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
That's our Scoot.
Well, Emily, you had not seen this movie before, and neither had I, but you did write a plot synopsis for what you thought this movie was going to be about.
Right. Literally just knew the title, Monsters. So here's what I said. Because honestly, we always get this is a commentary on real life humans are monsters shit. So here's what I said. Monsters is about exactly that. Monsters. There's no fucking allegory for the monsters within us and the demons inside humans. No bullshit like that. It is just there are monsters hunting humans in a small town with nothing else going on. No extra flavor.
Damn.
That's definitely the closest you've ever gotten to what the movie's actually about.
There's like so much allegory though.
Okay, we'll have to talk about that because I don't know if there was much.
I think there's a lot.
Okay, you'll have to enlighten us then.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. I would love to.
Dylan, why don't you give us the DVD plot synopsis from the back cover of the DVD?
Oh, I will, sir. All right, here we go, folks. 6 years after Earth has suffered an alien invasion, a cynical journalist agrees to escort a shaken American tourist through an infected area in Mexico to the safety of the U.S. border.
Is he technically a journalist? Photographer journalist?
He's a photojournalist.
Okay. And then with Sam being this American tourist, is that how you both thought of her? That she was just there as a tourist?
No.
Okay, good, because that seemed weird to me too. I'm not really sure what I thought of her.
Well, yeah, what did you think she was there for? Because I just got the impression that she was a privileged white woman who was just like, I'm going down to Mexico because I can, and I'm going to run away from my problems.
I gathered from continuing watching throughout the whole movie, and then the two of them talking about her fiance, and she was always kind of iffy about talking about it and very, I don't know. I think she was running away from it. I think she was kind of running from the engagement, but saying like, oh, I just want to go on one last thing by myself before we get married. And I don't think she had the intention of really going back.
Dylan, I got a similar vibe from her where she was just kind of like running away from this possible engagement that she doesn't really want to be in. But I expected it to be a little bit more later on in the movie, that more would be revealed, where maybe she was like acting out against her dad and she was trying to actually make changes and doesn't want to go back, because she knows that her dad's exploiting these people that she is living with right now in his paper or whatnot.
They really didn't do that. They were kind of making...
Of course.
The dad, to me, because the photojournalist worked for one of his companies, and they just knew he was down there, that he was assigned to that area. So it kind of made me think like, oh, this guy's like kind of a Rupert Murdoch, owns a bunch of newspapers and everything, and knows his daughter is there, and is like, all right, find the closest guy that's there, and he's got to help get my daughter out of there or he's fired.
Right. I was hoping for more, but I think, Ben, you are spot on with I'm a white, rich, privileged girl, and I'm going to just do whatever I want.
Yeah. All tourists are running away from something. They're running away from their job. They want the break. She wants to eat, pray, love her way through Costa Rica. Like, it's all the same.
True. I can agree with that, but it just kind of felt that way through her attitude about the engagement and getting married. She didn't seem very happy about it to me. That she was always kind of like, eh. And just how she gave up the engagement ring so quickly to go to pay off to get through the infected zone. That was pretty quick for her to make that rash of a decision of, here, take my gigantic diamond ring, because I want to deal with spooky monsters.
I think a lot of the ambiguity and underdevelopment comes down to the way that this movie was made, which is that there was no script. There was really no outline. It was literally just, I have a series of plot points, and let's make sure that we can meander our way towards them so that we can have a movie by the end.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I would say that kind of helps and hurts the movie at the same time. I thought it really helped in the sense that the two of them, not knowing that they were in a relationship while I was watching the movie in real life, I was like, oh, wow, with these two, acting the way they are, the chemistry is there, and they didn't feel like they were acting to me. It felt a lot more real, and having that kind of ability to ad-lib lines can work really well on some movies. They did that with Blair Witch.
And I completely agree. I think with this movie, the director had hundreds of hours of film. He was recording like crazy. And so I think I also read that he would put them all on USB so that he could free up space to do more hours. And so having a process that is more organic like that, it can culminate into something absolutely fantastic, but then it pulls away from some of the story character development. We have a pretty basic story. We're going to try to go from Mexico to the United States, and we're going to try to not get killed. Pretty basic story, but along the way, there was so much lost in these characters. And like you said, Dylan, Sam was kind of wishy-washy with her engagement. She was kind of just blah, but they still had those nice moments together where you could see that there was this spark between them, or there was some intrigue behind them. But just generally, they were kind of placeholder characters.
There is an authenticity in what is presented in this movie. It feels very authentic. All the shots feel very organic, like he just stumbled upon them, which he did. And it feels really cool because I like that pace of movies where it's like I'm just kind of flowing, like let's just go where you take me. But at some point in a movie, you need to feel like the director is taking you in a direction and he knows where it's going and that there's clear through lines. And this movie lacked that for the most part for me. Like I never felt like that narrative pull through the movie. It was a lot of just meandering.
Yeah. And I think part of that is because there was that no formal script and all of this was improvised. And I don't know if it's just that he had this idea and he felt like he could just, take advantage of the local people that he had in the movies. They didn't have permission to be in like any of the places they were in. And all of the people besides the two leads were just real people. They didn't have any experience in film. They were just there and they said, okay, this is the scene, just talk and we'll film you. And so I don't know if that makes it better or worse. So it does help with the authenticity of it, like you said, Ben. But at the same time, I feel like because he did that, it has almost this sense of privilege that I can just be here using you for my own art.
And it also feels like the director in some way is saying, like, look at how difficult of a process making this movie is. Like, I'm making it intentionally difficult on myself by not doing a script, by doing it in this way. Should we as movie watchers weigh the circumstances about how a movie is made when we're trying to rate the movie? Like, does degree of difficulty matter? Or should it matter?
I think I can appreciate the work that goes into something, but I think all that matters is really the execution of what I get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I can, as an artist myself, really value the process the director went through in creating this film.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing that also makes me question his ability sometimes, where I'm like, okay, really? Why couldn't you just do a little bit more with an outline or a little bit more with, I don't know. It just really bothers me even that he just was using local people and I'm assuming not paying them to be in the movie and not having permission to be on location. It really sits poorly with me, even though I think it was done in such a beautiful way. So yes and no. I don't think I answered your question. Dylan?
Again, I would say in the end, it's all about the product. In the end, is it an entertaining product? Because that's what movies are there for. Yes, they're there for the purposes of entertainment, but also they're there to kind of make you think, possibly, depending on the movie. But let's look at something like Best in Show, the Christopher Guest dog show movie. Again, very
Amazing.
similar thing where no script, a lot of ad-libbing because all these people know each other. So they know how to riff off of each other very well. And those are made on a shoestring budget, And then look at something like, just pick anything from like the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Shit, you could even throw Rogue One out there because this director did that.
Well, my point is take the most corporately built movie where you've got gobs of money thrown at it and look at another movie that's made for $1 million or less or something like that. Were you entertained by both of them?
If it's Rogue One, the answer to Emily is no.
Well,
I'm sorry. I just...
Then they both achieved their goal. Their goal was to entertain, and they did that. So
there are those levels of entertainment, though, when talking about a different idea or something that is an idea built off of something else. And Dylan, you mentioned Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it, but I know that it was a lot of like point of view of the characters and a lot of handheld stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like this movie had kind of the similar rough around the edges shots, which showed a little bit more of the world that this movie was taking place in. And with that setup, it allowed for a more interesting and entertaining beginning and just like idea. Although a lot of Marvel things, yeah, they're great and wonderful. I just always seem to be overburdened by the same sort of blockbuster feel.
It's a very interesting line to kind of go with. And I'll say this, Emily, I don't really, that didn't go through my head. The whole idea of, was he exploiting these people, to make a movie? And so I just saw it as, this guy thought, where can I make this movie that will have authenticity of the situation that it is? And it was south of the border. He figured go there. And also, if you're making a movie with zero budget or very little budget, you cannot film in America because you're going to need permits and all those kind of things. Guerrilla filmmaking just isn't what it was in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where you could get away with it. You can't get away with it now.
That's my point, though.
What's your point?
My point is, it's never okay to do that. You know, I don't think that it is ever okay to just go and film and not pay the people that are there, even if they are just locals, you know, or not get permission to be there.
Do you know that for a fact?
Yeah, it's all over everywhere. It talks about how they were not listed or credited. They weren't paid for things. It's listed everywhere. And I think that because of how guerrilla filmmaking, I guess, has been, and I don't know a lot about it, again, it's just this idea of, oh, I can't do this in America. I might as well take advantage of another country to help since I don't have a budget. And so I think that is just accepted, but I don't know if that should be accepted or not. So that's kind of my point about how even if he didn't mean to, he was definitely exploiting for his own benefit.
I will say this. None of the people that acted in this movie, that are the extras, that are just local people, were forced to be in this movie. They all made the choice that they wanted to be in it. No, nobody is being filmed against their will.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Is he exploiting them in that he's not paying them what he should be for actors? Yes. Is he exploiting them as in taking advantage of them and using them in a way that they're not comfortable with? No.
I would agree.
Another reason why I kind of feel like the director, and I can't for the life of me remember his name. I don't know why I can't remember his name right now. I feel like he is also aware of what he's doing because of within the movie, I feel like he has this straightforward commentary about how this photojournalist is posing children with gas masks and making them look real sad in a way to make money. And it reminded me a lot of those mission trips that you see of white people with countries that are not America. And you see the white woman with all the kids from Africa, and she's the only one smiling, and they're all just standing there. And I'm not saying like it's the same thing at all, but that's what it reminded me of. And I think that even when we get to the end of the movie, the only people that make it to the end, to cross the border, are the two white people that have no skills in the jungle, have no skills with this. And so I think that he is aware of what he's doing, but also showing that it seems so bizarre and strange that these two white Americans can just coast through this traumatic experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say, of course, he knows what he's doing. I can't remember our lead character, the male, what his name was.
Scoot! It's Scoot!
With Scoot, he even says lines in there where she's asking him, do you like what you're doing? Do you realize... She's basically asking what you're saying, Emily. Don't you feel you're exploiting these people? And he says, pretty much he goes, yeah, but I got to get paid.
Right.
We don't get paid for smiley, happy photos. We get paid for depressing photos. We need to show that this is what the world, quote unquote, really is. So I think, yeah, Gareth Edwards knows that, yeah, it's art repeating life in that sense. I think he's aware.
I'm sure he's aware because he's probably not a stupid guy.
No.
But I don't think the inclusion of that journalist's line and that stuff about him taking advantage of people is included because he's so aware that he's pointing it out himself. Because if this script there is no script, he didn't write this. So we can't attribute this self-awareness to him that he knows what he's doing because this line appears in this movie.
Well, he could have edited that part out if he wanted to, if he had so much extra film. He could have just said, nope, that's not fitting with my narrative of what I want. I'm taking it out.
Okay, I see what you're both saying. I was saying more that, like, throughout the first half of the movie, as they're traveling, he's taking photos of all of the people as they're traveling. And it's not just like, I'm going to pose and take a shot or take a quick shot. It's like, I'm going to take 50 shots to get the perfect one, because you hear the clicking over and over and over again. And so it's in the character's actions that show me that he is all about the money. And I think with that aspect of it, I think the director does have that control, because it was so often, you know what I mean? That he was showing this character doing that over and over again.
I think it's a leap, though, Emily, to say that the photojournalist having the children pose with the face masks and the gas masks is the same in the director's eyes as him using these unpaid extras within his movie. I don't think that comparison
I'm not making
can be
that
made.
connection.
Okay.
No, I'm not making that connection. I am just pointing out that I think that the director is making a commentary on how America exploits other countries for their own benefit in a wide variety of ways.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I thought we were trying to equate the two things that we were talking about. So that's why I got a little lost.
No, it was just a noticing.
That's honestly, Emily, that's what I was thinking you were going with too, is like,
remember, I have a concussion. You gotta just roll with it.
Well, then stop going into this deep thought and conversation. Just go with the pretty colors.
I'm sorry, this movie made me think about these things. Even with a broken brain, I have all of these thoughts, all these incredible thoughts.
See, part of me wanted to be able to just turn my brain off in this movie and watch just a monster movie, but this is different from the normal monster movies we get. Do you guys feel like this is a unique enough spin to warrant its existence?
I would say yes, in the sense that I did try to watch this movie a long time ago, and I thought it was just going to be like this is going to be like just a run-of-the-mill. I can have it on in the background and just watch it and, go, oh, cool, spooky monsters. Oh, wow. But nope, that was not the case. It required a lot more focus. So I had to turn it off, and I just never really thought to watch it again because it really, at that time, because I thought it was just a cheaply made popcorn type movie, that, no point in seeing it. If it didn't get my attention the first time, then why should I try a second time? Now watching it this time and actually really paying attention, there's substance there.
I generally want to say, yes, it's very unique, especially for 2010. But at the same time, I don't think I have the mental capacity to think about all the other movies that have monsters and aliens. And so I don't think I can answer this question fully. But I will say that watching it, I had a sense of wonder that I haven't gotten in a long time. And I also felt like a familiarity. So it was this, I see things that are new that I haven't seen before. And I get a feeling where like my jaw legit dropped open at a few points, which we'll talk about. But then at the same time, there's like this comforting familiarity as I'm watching this movie where I'm going, oh yeah, maybe I've read this in a comic book or in a graphic novel, or I've seen this theme in another form of media. And it's not exactly the same, but it just reminds me of something that I can't put my finger on.
Mm-hmm.
Up until 2010, when I think monster movies started to get a little more creative, a lot of the monster alien stuff was invasion, attack focused. And this is much more like a lived in world with this issue. And I think that's unique enough, at least at the time, to definitely warrant it being around. Like, I do think it's an interesting take on a monster movie. And I wish we could have gotten a movie like this with a more definitive script that had a little more to say about maybe the state of humankind or the relationship with the monsters than this movie that we got.
Right. I like that idea. I think that would have been really awesome. And I actually really liked this movie. I didn't really have any expectations going forward. But I think I did love that aspect of the world feeling lived in and watching these people adapt and seeing the cartoons of the aliens that the kids are watching and how to put your gas mask on, seeing the artwork and graffiti on the walls, seeing how they had these moments of disinfection and like all these processes, and watching Sam and Calder, I think his name is, go through and just sit around and be kind of bored.
Mhm.
You know, it's like this world is so developed of how we would continue our life after an alien invasion would happen.
Yeah, this movie reminded me a lot of District 9, just in the way that it presented this world where we're just trying to live with what's happened, and it's kind of got this pedantism to it, where it's like we're just going through the motions of life, like District 9 does.
And they kind of did glaze over that in this movie as well, where she did ask people, like, why are you still here? You know, if you know you're so close to the infected area, why are you still here? And they're just like, well, we got to live too. And this is where we are. And we're just doing what we got to do to survive. It didn't look like they were completely, you know, destitute and living horrible, not, you know, they weren't living the sweet life, you know, like
Of Zach and Cody. Hey!
But they were living an existence that for them was functional. And they're just going day by day, waking up, going, all right, if the monsters attack, they attack. It's just, it's the way it goes. And I did like that too, that it was kind of that idea of, this is a world that we've lived in now for 6 years. And we just have to do what we do every day and hope it just gets a little bit better or it just gets worse.
Speaking of things working, did this ending work?
So for those who don't know, the ending basically wraps back around to how the movie started. So the movie starts with this army group coming to save these two people who have been under attack from the monsters on the American side of the wall. And then the ending is the guy and the girl on the American side of the wall, and it turns out that they are the two that the army is coming to save. So the movie kind of loops in on itself like an Earl Burrow. And it starts where it begins. You asked Emily if this ending works, and it's a neat idea, and it's definitely a directorial flourish. Like, the guy was clearly proud of himself that he came up with this. I have major problems with doing it this way, and I don't want to dive into it because it is my bad, and I want to save my bad. My bad is ending specific.
Okay, sounds good.
I'll admit, I had to watch the opening a second time.
Yep, I did too.
Because I did not get it, and it might have been the fact that it was all shot in night vision, which really didn't work, but I imagine we'll go deeper into that when we get to the good, the bad, and the weird.
I wanted to watch the beginning again, but I honestly just haven't. I've been trying to stay away from screens, but I had the same sort of feeling where I went, oh, we're singing the Valkyrie song? Okay. That was in the beginning of the movie. Does that mean that this is happening now? So everything's going to explode and everybody's dead, Dave? It's a Red Dwarf reference. I'm sorry. But I felt lost. I felt very confused. So we can talk more about that in the bad/weird.
If we're including in the ending the little alien sex dance, like, I was all about that. So that was cool as hell to me.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
But before we jump into the good, bad, and the weird, I did write a letter today.
Who'd you write to, Ben? Oh, you didn't?
Actually, I have a letter that was written by someone else that I came across.
Okay.
So here we go.
For reals?
Yeah. Dear border wall, you're magnificent. Everything a country could ever want. The way you tower over everything and keep those huge and illegal aliens out, so impressive. Even though I only stumbled upon your beauty while flipping through channels during the commercials while I was watching my favorite movie, Miss March, which is a phenomenal movie. It makes me laugh, it makes me cry, It involves Playboy, which is something I have read to me daily. Believe me, Wall, you gotta see this movie. I don't say this to many, but I must say you inspired me, Wall. I need you. We need you. And together, you and I, great America can be again.
I hate you so much.
Signed, Donald J. Trump, 2011. This movie inspired him.
Honestly,
You reading that, Ben, reminds me of when we first saw the trailer for Greenland. The second I watched it, I texted Ben going, so do you think Trump saw this trailer and that's when he thought we should buy Greenland?
Oh my god.
Yep.
Oh my god. Ben, that was so good.
So was he watching this movie?
I
and he went,
just found it. I didn't write anything. I just found
oh,
it.
okay.
Oh,
Well,
I know. I
Yeah,
just meant the
okay.
accent was great.
but
Oh, thank you.
it just made me think, yeah, did he watch this movie and go, that's it?
I want that. That's the thing I'm going to do.
Well, he didn't watch this movie because the wall doesn't work because the aliens break through it at the end.
Right.
So let's talk about the good and specifically who won this movie.
Ooh, can I go? Can I go first?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So specifically the sound in the movie, not just literally the sounds of the monsters, which were fucking amazing. It was so cool, but it's also how the score and the sounds worked together. I felt like the score had this haunting and melancholy sound, but also the sounds of the monsters, they were eerie and entrancing, and it just blended so nicely. And when it cut out and we had just the sounds of the jungle or the sounds of people dying or whatever, it was so beautiful together. It just added to the ambiance. And so I was just obsessed with the score and the sound design together.
I agree. Dylan, how about you?
I'm going to go with the cinematography was the big winner. You're in beautiful jungle area, and I thought it was shot very well. And the one shot that I cannot get out of my head is the scene where they are trying to repair the boat, and the camera is just mounted on like a floaty or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of loops around the front of the boat. I just was like, that is gorgeous. That is just beautifully shot. And again, there's guerrilla filmmaking for you, where it's just like, they probably just took some wood, something that floats, and just, all right, let's put the camera on it and see what happens. And they got a gorgeous shot out of it.
Yeah, my winner is in line with you, Dylan, and my winner is just Gareth Edwards, because with how much stuff this guy did, taking the time to actually create all of the visual effects in this movie, including all the little stuff we see with the trees, where we can see the trees are infected. I thought that was such a cool idea. And then there's a lot of elements within this movie where you can clearly see the talent that led a huge studio to give him a Godzilla movie right after this.
Mm-hmm.
Because he went from this being his first movie to making Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can win more than that, is making a tiny little movie on your own and then making Godzilla. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah. I have some things to say about with him directing Godzilla that I wasn't the biggest fan of, and
Well,
we can get
shut
into
up,
that later.
Dylan.
Save
We're
it
not
for
talking about Godzilla.
bitch.
Did you not hear me say we'll get into that later?
Save it, bitch.
God, Emily walking all over my words.
Not Ben, just me.
Yeah.
Dylan, I'm all about that cinematography too. And I think Gareth Edwards did a phenomenal job with the framing and just giving us time to sit with some tension. Like, there wasn't a ton of this is tension, but it was just like normal human interactions of, oh shit, I'm sitting here waiting to see what happens next. And I felt the cinematography and the framing complemented that really well in combination with a lot of the characters too. Like, even though the characters themselves, like the main two, were just kind of empty buckets, in my opinion, they still had a lot of gorgeous additions to the movie, just how they were reacting to what was happening around them.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I talk about a lot on this podcast is just environmental filmmaking. And I think this movie has a very good eye for that. And he may have stumbled across these beautiful shots with all the hours of footage he got, but nonetheless, he chose to put these shots in. I think of the stuff on the river when the sun's rising. There are some truly beautiful shots there. I love the shot where they're on the church top and it's overlooking the city. And you got all the lights of the bustling city down below and like the marketplace. Just gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone have a favorite scene?
Oh, well, memorable. I had a really memorable scene. So I talked a little bit about the graffiti, but there's the scene where Scoot like bounces a soccer ball off his head, but you get this shot of a wall covered in graffiti with these very angular depictions of the monsters. And it kind of reminded me of what's the book? The War of Worlds?
War of the Worlds.
Yeah, War of the Worlds. And it kind of reminded me also of just some graphic novels, but, you know, Cthulhu-esque. And it really stood out to me because there was this art in the world besides just this one, but that one was the one that really stood out to me. And I was like, oh, that is so cool. I don't know if you actually painted that or if you added that in later, but it was so fucking cool. And I loved it, adding that to the world.
Yeah, my favorite scene is one that Emily probably doesn't like because it involves extras being exploited. But I love the scene with the Mexican family. Not the end part where he's like posing them with the gas masks, but the stuff inside the house.
When they stay with the family.
Yeah, it felt so authentic and real and just like people hanging out and having a good time. And it's like, if that's the way you're going to do this movie, then scenes like that, or when they're walking through the marketplace, like those are the types of scenes I enjoy. It's very Before Sunrise, Richard Linklater-esque.
Yes.
It was tender.
I would say that those were some of my, that was probably my favorite sequence, was that, all right, this is our last night in Mexico, or, you know, this is our last night here. Let's live it up. You know, which sadly went in a totally wrong direction, which is what led to them having to go through the infected zone, but still.
Do you want to know when my jaw just absolutely dropped?
Sure.
When I got into the recording studio today?
Shut up. No. No, we haven't quite talked about the monsters at the end of the movie doing their dance, sex, love-making thing in the air. And then also just the CGI of the infected trees and lights and how they react to electricity or just light in general or the storms that were happening. But as the sound and the score and the visuals came together, my jaw literally dropped and I just sat there going, what is happening? This is outstanding and I can't believe what I'm seeing.
And right after that is where the movie got bad because...
It's got like 15 seconds after that.
Yep. And that's where the issue arises, though.
Yeah.
And that's the issue, because the continuity of the location at the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie is off, and it's way off.
Yes. Oh, I did notice that.
At the end of the movie, they're at this like remote gas station in the middle of nowhere. And then at the beginning, they're in this town and there's like lined with buildings. And if you're going to try to do this type of continuity thing, you can't make that mistake. You have to make it at least set in the same location, because anyone that watches the beginning over again, like I did and like Dylan did, is going to notice it right away.
Mm-hmm.
But the monsters were cool.
The monsters were cool.
You know how the tentacles came in and they were like on the television and it was just, I don't know, sucking electricity or whatever it was doing. It was reacting to it and really digging it. I don't know. I just loved the movement of the tentacles in so many aspects with just the design of how Gareth Edwards had them, and seeing them in their full glory of just these big, giant, monstrous things that just seem so gentle and magical. Ugh, I loved it.
Anyone else have some bad?
I do. You know, again, I said I really love the cinematography, but I'll say this. I love the cinematography, during the day.
Oh.
I am very particular. I loved the movie The Revenant, and I know that movie was shot with all natural light, which is wonderful. And I understand with this movie, it's outside, it's cheaply made, but I just didn't like the natural lighting of this because there were some things where I was like, I can't see what they're talking about, or I don't know who's talking because I really just can't see who it is.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell by their voice, but at the same, I would say using natural lighting is it's a technique that's very hard to achieve in filmmaking.
If you're attempting to do what Gareth's doing, though, and have this found footage feel to it, then there are going to be times where even if you're in the position of them, you're not going to be able to see everything. You're going to question who's talking and where the sound is coming from. Mm-hmm. So I think that's almost an intentional decision that he made when he decided to make the movie this way.
All right.
That's interesting, Dylan, because I felt, the scene when they're all gathered around the fire in the middle of the jungle with all of the guards. And I know that that's like a really dark scene and they go and get to see the infected trees. But I don't know. I just felt like it was this little campfire.
That I could see really well. That I thought was okay. That natural lighting was really, it was more, there were just some scenes where I was just like, this natural lighting just doesn't work for me. I can't think of particulars,
I just don't quite remember.
But there were just some moments where I was like, I'm not digging this at this moment.
Emily, did you have a bad?
Yeah, for me, generally, I hated the empty white shells of the main characters. I didn't like that there wasn't a through line. I also was really bothered that the rules about the monsters weren't very clear, where they don't like light, but also there was a moment where it seemed like they weren't going to attack if they were not provoked, but that whole big blow up where everyone dies except the two white people, it just seemed so bizarre to me. And then everyone's putting on gas masks, but I wasn't quite sure, is it because the United States is bombing people with chemical weapons, or is it just residual from the airstrikes, or are the monsters emitting the chemicals? I'm just trying to figure things out. And then also, again, like I said, I hated that all of these quote unquote experts that have gone through the infected zone plenty of times, they all died. And Sam and Scoot are the only two left. And I'm sitting there like, what? No, that should not have happened. That is so stupid to me that everyone died from this one moment except for Sam and Scoot.
It's a plot contrivance, definitely, because he clearly was like, I need to get them by themselves at the end, so what do? Oh, I'll just kill them all off. It's the same thing with another one of my bads, which is the one night stand steals the tickets.
Oh, yeah, right.
They clearly needed some way to that they couldn't just get on the boat and that they'd be forced to walk and make Emily be like, are they going to walk the whole fucking way?
Oh my God. I texted Ben, literally, I'm going, oh, well, I guess they're definitely walking right before they bought the boat ticket because they commented on well, those people are walking. I'm like, well, I know where this is going.
But yeah, it's that idea of just having a series of plot points laid out ahead of time and then allowing the film to meander away from the plot point and then having to zig it back real quick with something illogical almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about weird?
Can I go first on the weird? Because Emily basically said my weirds.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I can go deeper into it. I was expecting oh my God, we got so drunk, we slept through our wake-up call and we're going to miss the boat. That was fine. I thought that was going to be it, and I did kind of like that they went with her passport was stolen. But the weird part of that was, why the fuck did he have her passport?
I know.
That's kind of I've traveled internationally, and I think, isn't that like travel 101?
Yo.
Do not give your passport to another person. Ever.
Nope. She's a woman. She doesn't have pockets.
Also, her outfit this whole time, I'm like, are you seriously wearing this? Like, I swear, it gets cold at night, even if you're in the middle of the jungle by the equator. But it's going to get a little chilly at night, and you're just like, I'm going to wear this nice poncho. That's it. Okay, cool. Whatever.
But that was one of my weirds was just, and actually, Emily, the other thing that was my other weird was the gas masks. And also the idea of when they first go into the infected area, you see a truck getting out and they're hosing it down, like with bleach or whatever it's supposed to be, alcohol, bleach, who knows. Why? They don't explain why they have to wear the gas masks, because they're even showing, videos of kids going, like duck and cover under your desk.
Yeah.
Type of thing for a nuclear bomb, where it's like, remember to put on that gas mask. It's like, why? Tell me why.
But Dylan, having just gone through a pandemic and still being in the middle of one, we have seen people eat horse dewormer to try to get rid of a virus. So, like, clearly, when you're scared, you do stupid shit to be overprotective, and I think that's just what this is.
Okay.
Although I don't know if it's meant to be that. I think my weird comes down to, his name is Calder. I wrote in my notes. Sam and Calder, they know how to get to US in the middle of the jungle. Seriously?
Head north. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Up.
Did they have a compass? Do they know how to?
They have the sun.
Yeah, but do they? Okay, I don't know. I do not believe that two random white people can figure out where north is without a smartphone. Like, I cannot believe that.
He could have been a Boy Scout.
Oh my God, I don't fucking care. Either way, they just walk around unharmed for like 2 days, don't run into any issues. It doesn't seem like they have a lot of food, water. They also had a car that worked. They could have just pushed one of the cars out of the way and just kept driving. It seemed so stupid to me that they're like, we're just surviving and we're just walking really fast.
For a person who says they like this movie, it sounds like you hated this movie.
This is the nitpick part of the episode, Dylan.
I know.
I never really got a sense of what the rush was to get back to America, that they would risk going through the infected zone. Like, that was never really clear to me. It just seemed like, I want to go back. So let's risk our lives by walking? Like, come on.
I can answer that because they briefly were saying it really quickly in a couple of scenes where I guess they were saying it's like breeding season, which we do see at the end of the movie. And they were saying that they're more unpredictable and they do attack. And since there's no wall to keep them contained, they're just good. I think it's also they're slowly going more south. The more that they're infecting with the tree fungus or whatever, that the aliens are moving further south. And I think that's what it was.
Why wouldn't the people move south then to get away from the aliens? Like, if you go far enough south, you're below the Panama Canal. I don't know. At that point where I can't just boat around the aliens, if you're talking I got to walk through them, I'm turning my ass around and walking south.
Yeah. I'm going to Brazil, baby.
Yeah.
That's right.
I didn't feel the urgency either. It just was like, we just got to go for whatever reason because daddy wants me to go home. Ugh, God, I can't believe I said the word daddy. Ugh.
And odds are they 80-yard some of those lines to kind of, because maybe Gareth Edwards was like, oh yeah, we don't have a reason why they have to get back to America. Let's just
Let's use the news.
Yeah, we'll just say that it's breeding season and they're more aggressive, so we need to get you across the big wall that's going to protect you from these spooky, scary alien creatures.
Well, let's put a cork in this thing. We're going to start with Dylan. Dylan, give us your final thoughts on Monsters.
Good movie. It was very well made for what it is and for how cheaply it was made. I enjoyed it.
Okay, stop. I want to stop you.
What?
Well made for what it is. That is literally what I brought up earlier when I said, does the way a movie's made and its degree of difficulty change? So what do you mean by for what it is?
For being a low budget creature feature.
No,
type movie.
You said the product mattered.
You can't say it's good for what it is. I'm not letting you cop out like that.
Oh,
Give me a review of this movie, Dylan. What did you think of this movie and its content?
this movie and its content was entertaining. I was entertained by it. It did have some thought-provoking moments for what it is.
Oh my God, Dylan.
What I mean by that is, again, just with the genre that it is. It's a well-made movie for what it is, a monster movie.
But did you mean it that way the first time? Maybe not. We'll never know. We love you, Dylan. I liked this movie. I agree with the thought-provoking questions, but it wasn't even really streamlined in a this is where this allegory is going. It was creatively and organically put together by the director. And so I enjoyed, again, a lot of the cinematography in the shots. I loved the score and the CGI of the monsters. I just wish that it would have been a little bit more scripted with a more streamlined theme.
I enjoyed the ride of the movie. I never stopped and questioned, like, oh, this isn't a movie I should finish, or this is not something I'm enjoying. Like, it was always pushing me through. But then once I got to the end, I felt very empty. I felt like it lacked in anything impactful. It lacked any like outstanding lines that like hit me on like a human level, which is something I expected from this movie, was at least one line to resonate with me. And I didn't get that. So I felt almost like I had missed out on a truly spectacular experience because of lack of preparation, if you will.
What's your favorite idea? Mine is being creative.
How do you get the idea?
I just tried to think creatively.
You ready to be some sillies? Yep. Number 1. Please do not take this seriously, but please describe the photo that would get Calder, aka Scoot, the most money.
When it comes to photojournalism, the highest paying shot is a crotch shot of someone getting out of a car. So I want to see the monster like getting out of his pod, and he like spreads his legs a little wide, and you get a good shot of the monster vagina.
I love that you said as he's getting out of the pod. I immediately was like, okay, monster's getting out of a pod. And then you said vagina, and I was like, okay. All right, I love it. I'm into it. Dylan.
I'm going to go the more horrific. His prize shot is watching Sam get picked up by an alien and massacred and eaten, and he gets every single shot of it.
Whoa. Okay.
Oh my God. Guys, we didn't even talk about it. Do they survive?
There's no way they survive. They're dead.
I don't think so. No.
Okay. I don't think so either.
I think once that missile hits, I was like,
everybody's dead.
Yeah.
Number 2. Sam barters her ring. Calder tried to barter his camera and other shit that he had randomly, his watch. That didn't look that great. But what are you going to barter to get to America? My first instinct is like, Ben's going to say his daughter.
I need to barter something worth money.
I was going to say he was going to give up that sweet, sweet ass.
You can't give away something that's already been given away.
Oh my goodness.
I guess.
Wesley?
Are you saying I gave myself away to Wesley?
Yeah, obviously.
Or I would give Wesley away and barter him.
Oh no. Please don't give him away.
No, I think I'm going to go off the Wesley angle, and if there's one thing I've learned is the value of organs. So I'll give away a kidney. I'll barter a kidney.
What would I barter?
Your beard.
You'd shut up.
Oh my God.
Shut up.
Your glorious, glorious beard.
You could give your beard to a bald-chinned man who would just give you whatever you wanted for that glorious mane.
My lower mane.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything that's worth a whole lot, really, other than my dignity.
Which is not worth anything. You've got Gundams.
Yeah, I could go with some of that. Sure. No.
Oh my God, Dylan, you have to get back. You have to get back to America.
No,
How are you
head
getting
south,
back?
Dylan. Head south. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, man, I'm going to Rio.
Okay, fine. Number 3. Please describe an alien that comes to Earth. And everyone's reaction isn't that they're scared of it. It's more, ugh, this fucking thing? Give me an alien.
Like just something that's boring that makes people go, okay.
Sure.
Then I'm going with the stereotypical grays. The gray alien with like the football shape, like with the football shaped eyes.
Oh, and the 3 fingers or 4 fingers?
Yeah, the 3 or 4 fingers, something like that. Where it's just the thing that everybody draws when they say they've been abducted by an alien.
It's surprise, they're real?
Yeah, and then they get off and they go, oh, okay, all right. I guess those people weren't lying.
I think my alien would just be just a head with a body that's just all scrotums. Because, you know, like, how can you fear something that's just all balls? Because you can just punch it, it's down. Like, it's got no defense mechanisms.
Oh my God.
How do we know that these are supposed to be threatening aliens? Is that part of the condition here that they're threatening?
Who said they were threatening?
All it says is no one's scared of them.
Yeah. How can you be scared of something that's all balls?
I don't know. Are they
can't.
hairy and stinky or?
Oh, stop.
Dylan,
Stop describing them.
Why do you gotta be so graphic? You're gross, Dylan.
Now let's all agree to never be creative again.
Well, let's play a quick game before we go, and Dylan is going to play today's game.
Shall we play a game?
I despise guessing games.
This great game. Makes you think and it helps your memory.
Let the games begin.
In this game, I'm going to give you a movie monster, and you need to tell me whether I think we would be bestest friends.
Oh my gosh. I want to play. I'm going to play on paper by myself.
If you would be best friends with it?
Do I think I would be best friends with these monsters? And away we go. Audrey 2.
Friends.
Absolutely. Godzilla.
No.
No way. The Fish Man from Shape of Water.
Yeah, you'd be besties.
Absolutely not. I'd be so worried that he would seduce me and then we would be more than friends. Frankenstein's monster.
I would say no because you'd be afraid he'd throw your daughter into a pond.
No, I want him to throw me into a pond. Fun summer times. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, we'd be friends.
Okay.
Wolfman.
No.
Yeah, no way. Too much hair. Gremlin.
Gizmo or the gremlin or the green gremlins?
Specifically the lipstick gremlin.
Oh, you'd be
From
totally
the second one.
Oh,
absolutely, I would. Yeah.
I'd have to pull her off of you.
Well, good luck. King Kong.
Yeah, you'd be best
No.
buds.
No.
Yeah, you would.
I refuse to be best friends with anyone with an alliterative name. So you guys are lucky. Mike Wazowski.
Yes.
Absolutely, I would. He's got a car. He can drive me places. Last one, The Thing.
Oh, God, no.
Actually, I think I would because I might already be.
Oh.
Dylan, will you take this test?
We're going to have to take some of your blood, Ben, and take a look. Emily's probably never seen
I'm worried
that
you
movie.
are.
Oh.
No, she hasn't.
I didn't do very well.
Neither did
I'm not kidding you.
Did you know who all the monsters were?
I haven't seen The Thing.
Oh.
But otherwise, I kind of got the idea for all of the other ones.
We
But
are so...
I'm not kidding you. I put yes for every single one because I legit thought that you'd be friends with every single one.
Yeah, Emily, we're going to have you watch The Thing.
Oh, I know. I will get to it. I was actually just talking to Corbin about how I really want to watch it now.
It's so amazing.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us to talk about monsters. We do appreciate your continued support. And please follow us on social media at IDYP_podcast on Twitter and Instagram, or you can email us at idrinkyourpodcast@gmail.com. And please do not forget to rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, not good bods. We're not on good bods.
Oh, that's what you think. Dylan
One of us could be on good bods, yeah, and it's Dylan. Next week, we will be having our first guest of the season in Bill from A Gamer at 40 podcast. He will be here to talk about what I'm assuming is a video game adaptation, and we're watching Blue Valentine.
Oh my God. You're dumb.
It's a point-and-click adventure.
Hey, Ben, I need you to do it in your best alien impression of I drink your podcast, I drink it up.
Okay, well, I'm going to do the alien from Arrival and just shoot the text out of my hand. Do y'all hear it?
I thought you were going to do the Mars Attacks.
Meh, 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 meh. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
We're done.
Okay,
bye, everyone.
Bye.